left, right.
Yo, what's up? Thank you for joining us for this episode of SipTalk. Today we are talking about my recent trip to Mexico and what's led us into just a discussion about third world countries. Either way, don't drink the water, and I'll see you on the other side. This is SipTalk. Grab a drink and enjoy.
Of course, let's go.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right. Welcome to episode 47, Sip Talk. Today we got James, the Bosnator, accountant extraordinaire, philosopher, bartender, professional referee. We got Andres Vitagliator, the supplier of drinks, connoisseur, sommelier. We are drinking Wild Basin boozy, sparkly water. Wait,
It's brand new.
there's no alcohol in here.
Fuck yeah, there's something. It's 5% alcohol.
Oh, yeah, there is. Oh, there's some alcohol in here. All right.
I don't do water.
On that note, James, what are you drinking down there?
I am drinking Johnny Walker Red on the rocks.
All right. Nice. Weren't you beefing with Johnny Walker Red the other day?
Yeah.
No, I was beefing on. I was kind of shitting on Dewar's white label a little bit, but no, I was drinking Seagram 7 before, which is terrible compared to Johnny Walker Red.
I will agree with you there. So, quick update. You were asking me about the trip to Tulum, and that was a wonderful trip. Tulum. Surprise trip.
Yeah, not Tulum.
Yeah,
Tulum.
Tulum.
What did I say?
Tulum.
Excuse the shit out of me. Either way, surprise trip. Didn't know where I was going. Flew into I didn't even look at the tickets.
Same here. I didn't know where I was going, and then I woke up and all that shit.
How did you not know where you were flying if you're standing at the boarding gate and it says to Tulum, Mexico?
No, because it said to Cancun, but I was told I wasn't going to Cancun specifically. That was the local airport here. Cheers on this. Either way, wonderful trip. I stayed in a luxury treehouse. Drinks there cost more than they do in Manhattan, and the food was very comparable to how it is in Manhattan. It was definitely a really, really great place. I did spend the last 24 to 36 hours in a lot of pain, potential food poisoning. I don't know. The sound hurt me. The light hurt me. Everything just seemed to inflict pain on me at that point. I don't know. Maybe the fish tacos that sat out in the sun a little too long on the beach. But outside of that, it was a wonderful trip, a great surprise, and a nice way to spend my birthday. So that's going to give us a little direction today. And I want to talk about the difference in living in third world countries and living in places like the U.S., because I think really we got some major differences. A lot of people don't realize them.
Yeah, you guys have clean water to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And you take that for granted.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't have that.
Somebody a while back, I don't know, it was a post or a comment I read. I think it was like a comedy routine, but it was relatively serious. And she's like, you guys clean your bodies in fresh, drinkable water.
Oh, it was that monologue with this.
I think she was from India.
Yeah.
So definitely some major differences.
Yeah.
James, you wanted to talk about dictatorship.
Well, we'll parlay into that.
Okay. But what's going on? What's happened last week? I haven't talked to you in a little bit.
Not much. Last week we were just at the firm. We were burning hard trying to make the Thursday deadline, and I got all my work done. It was hectic on Thursday, and then Friday, pretty much all the partners took the day off because they had worked harder than I did, and they deserved it. And Friday, it was like half the office was there, and it was super chill. I had a beer at my desk at 10:45 in the morning.
Sounds like me at the airport.
Yeah, and then this weekend worked some soccer games, and now I'm back at it. And in like 36 hours, I'll be on a flight to Sacramento.
Nice. We'll talk. Let's connect with that in a minute because you wanted to connect with anybody in California. So we'll talk about that. We'll throw your details in there. But I got a question for you. And this is a good one. What about air travel makes it okay to consume alcohol at like 7:50 in the morning? Like I rolled up to the airport, walked by the bar. I'm like, let me stop for a quick Aperol Spritz. We're getting on a plane in a minute. I had an Aperol Spritz, I think a Bloody Mary, and something else. They had like a little special drink, and it was by 9:00 in the morning. I had 3 drinks.
I have a theory on this actually, which is
like
that
international waters where there's
Not-
no man's land.
I don't think so.
Something like
No,
that.
yeah, in between the customs gates. But
Yeah.
my theory is that airports exist outside of time.
what, like casinos?
Similar, because especially large international airports, you might have people that are traveling or in between flights or whatever. So let's say you're flying from, I don't know, England to LA. So you might go from London to JFK to LAX. So JFK is going to be your in between. And so like it doesn't even matter what time it is in New York City because it doesn't matter to you because it's not going to be the time zone that you're from or the one that you're going to. And so I think just when you get to an airport, you're not really doing anything. You like as soon as you get to the airport, you only just need to be able to walk onto the airplane. That's it. So your responsibilities are at a functional minimal. So
Yeah,
like,
no, I agree with you.
time doesn't really apply because like flight attendants and stuff work crazy schedules. Pilots work crazy schedules. A lot of people there are in a different time zone than what they're used to. So airports exist outside of time. And so as soon as you get into an airport, you feel like you've stepped into a time bubble and normal societal expectations as to when it's okay and not okay to drink just disappear. I think this was 2 years ago. I had to fly like after I visited you, I had to fly out of JFK early in the morning. I think my flight was like at 6:30 or something in the morning is when it left. So I had to be at the airport at like 5:15. So we went out and we stayed out until 4:00 in the morning drinking. And then you were nice enough to buy me a shuttle to the airport so I didn't have to navigate early morning subway while drunk.
Yeah.
But whatever the case is, I show up to the airport and it took between the time from when like we left the bar till when I got to the airport, I had gone about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes without having actually probably closer to an hour and a half after I got through security with no alcohol in me. It's now, I don't know, 5:15 in the morning and I just want to drink. And I go up to the bar and they're like, yeah, we're not serving it anymore. I was pissed. I thought what are you guys doing here? You're an airport. You always have alcohol.
Well, I've been to the airport before all the restaurants are open, and that is an absolute. I've been to the airport one time. I got there. It was a smaller terminal, and it was too early before they were letting anybody in, any check-ins or any security, and it was a miserable place. It's funny to think of an airport with anything closed because I guess you really do look at it as like a time warp, and I can't see how. Time. I mean, yeah, time. If you're passing through an airport, time really doesn't matter. If you're arriving at an airport, the local time, or you're departing from an airport, but if you're transiting through an airport, time really does not exist.
And then again, it also depends on the amount of time that you travel. If you are a person that travels on like a monthly basis, then yeah, you get used to the fact that I can get to an airport at 9 a.m. and get a drink and whatever. If you are like a once in a year kind of traveler, just the experience of going to an airport is majestic. It happened to me the first time that I traveled, which was like 5 years ago when I came to the US. And for me, that was something unique, something special. I never thought about the alcohol or anything. Then as soon as I started traveling twice a year, I was like, well, it's a 6, 7, 8 hour flight. Might as well get wasted so I don't, I'll just go to the airplane and just pass out. So alcohol is more expensive inside the airport for sure compared to...
Well, everything is because you can't bring anything in. So like they can charge you 20%, 200%, I don't know, more than you normally would pay. Like, we've done the research. Like, why can't I bring my Coke into the past security? Well, it might explode. But we've done the research, and yeah, $1.50 Cokes won't explode, but the $4 ones, those ones are safe.
Oh man, I'm not a big fan of flying though, so I do. I definitely like to have a few drinks before getting on a plane. It just and I like to be passed out by the time we take off. So usually 3-4 drinks will be enough that I can just put my head back and I'm out by the time we take off. But let's talk about some third world countries. What would you say are the major differences? What's distinguishing a third? I don't even think third world country is politically correct.
It was at one point.
Developing nation.
First world. There used to be first world, second world, and third world. And first world were basically westernized democracies. Second world countries were the Soviet Union and its satellites. And then the third world was pretty much everything else. So
at one point I thought that calling a third world country was politically correct because I thought that you were supposed to call them developing countries or something like that.
Oh, it's shifted towards that now.
A third world country, and I can say that. I can call my country a third world country because it is a third world country. And one of the main probably things is water. You guys have water here to do everything that you want. You can. I've seen people literally just opening a pipe and just let it run. Especially in the summer here in the city, it gets super warm, super hot. Then you just go there and open a sprinkler. And
a fire hydrant. I learned at a young age that clean water is a finite resource, a super finite resource, and that it's just a good moral thing to do to not use a lot of it. And sure, you could leave, as long as you have good drainage, you could leave your sinks and your taps on, your bathtub on 24/7 for the most part. I don't think you would have any issues. But it's just kind of a shitty.
Your water bill might be a little high.
Sure, but not in an apartment, not in New York City.
Not in New York.
Right?
Is that just included in the rent?
Yeah, but the way I look at it, it's like not lifting the seat when you're in a unisex bathroom, or not lifting the seat in general, and even in the men's, because it's just kind of a shitty thing to do, or pissy thing to do. The morally right thing to do is you lift the seat, and the morally right thing to do is.
How can we go from water to?
No, what I'm saying is, you're brushing your teeth. You should shut off the water, and you shouldn't take super long showers. And you shouldn't let the hose run forever and ever. So
never let the hose run.
But I would say water supply, clean water supply, really big differentiation. I would also say
the power supply, the electricity that you guys have, you got for granted.
Well, I'm making a list, and you guys are kind of hitting on one of them.
24/7. In Ecuador, for example, there are some times that literally the governor will be like, okay, from 7 p.m. till 8 p.m. there's gonna be a power outage, and you guys are not gonna have any power in that time. Here in New York City, when something like that happens, people go crazy. They go like, "What the fuck? I'm paying taxes for this. I'm doing this. I'm doing that, and whatever." And in third world country, so Ecuador, that's a common thing. That's something normal. That's something that it's supposed to happen, especially in the summer, when there's like a lot of rain, a lot of these things. Things like that tend to happen a lot.
Yeah, well, there's places throughout the U.S. where you shouldn't. They don't let you water your. They don't let you water your grass, which is something that third world country would not think of doing. Maybe you water like some small flowers, but yeah, you're not watering your lawn in a third world country. So
all right, I got a list.
All right, I want to go with this. Let's see.
All right, so this is spitballing characteristics of third world countries. So I'd say, in particular order, a weak or unstable government, kind of widespread corruption,
Yeah.
Poor public services. So you guys already kind of talked about like power and water services being inconsistent. I would say kind of an exaggerated inequity in the economy. There's
Course.
a big difference between the very poor and the very rich, and maybe there's more poverty in general, but there's a certain few people that are extremely rich. So higher wealth inequality. I would also say, going along with that, a non-diversified economy where the bulk of the country's economy is in one particular industry, most
The
often
oil.
in some kind of a natural resource, such
Mhm.
as oil or agriculture or other natural resources like diamond or gold mining or anything like that.
Yeah.
I would say poor infrastructure, so bad roads. This kind of goes along with the public services, but just poor infrastructure in general. And then I would say generally higher civil or military unrest and like a larger military presence, a lot more militarized country.
Okay.
Those are the ones that I was able to come up with.
So I like those. I just want to touch a little more and expand on each of them. You have the list in front of you. So remind me again the first one. Was it public?
Weak and unstable government.
Okay, that was the first one you gave?
Yeah. Venezuela, for example, case in point, it was supposed to be called the Sweden of South America because in the 80s and early 90s, it was the richest country in South America. And look at it now. It's just nothing compared to what it was. People are dying of hunger. People are.
But that happened very quickly.
It's super quickly.
And that has to.
So, Venezuela hits a lot of these: weak and unstable government, corruption.
Mhm.
Public services used to be good, but now they're poor. Inequity in the economy, non-diversified economy. The nation depends almost entirely on oil revenues.
Yeah.
Poor infrastructure, largely because of the poor public services and the government. And then civil and military unrest for sure. Right? Venezuela ticks every single one of those boxes. Exclam.
Yeah. So hit the next one there.
So weak, unstable government. Next one is going to be just corruption, where if you want government to work for you, then you're going to need to pay a lot of money under the table to the officials that can make something happen. You get pulled over by the police. You want to get out of the ticket. It's going to cost you $100 that it's just going to the policeman. You want to get a driver's license when you go to the DMV. If you want to get to the front of the line, you pay somebody $50. You want your license, it's another $25 for them to actually process it. Not to the government, but to the person doing it.
I can tell you from firsthand experience, trying to register a vehicle in DR, Dominican Republic, you have to hang out at the DMV. You got to find somebody who works there looks like they're going in. You got to give them money. They're going to talk to somebody else. You got to slip that person money, or you got to give the first person money to give to the next person and hope they come out.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times they'll go in for an hour and you just got to stand there and wait. The same thing goes for being pulled over. One of my biggest fears was driving around DR and getting stopped because they have police checkpoints every 20 miles or so, maybe on the highway, sometimes less. And the highways are kind of shit anyways. But they have checkpoints, and there's a bunch of speed bumps. You familiar with this? I don't know if you had that next to it. Yeah, so you roll through, there's some rumble strips, and they're usually standing there with automatic weapons. And they'll stop you if they find they can think of any reason to exploit you. So I ended up buying a movie prop police badge, and when I would roll through, I would just put it in the window and salute the guys and roll through. But I was terrified because I didn't speak Spanish, so I was afraid they were going to pull me over, harass me,
like DEA,
and lock me up. Luckily, also to a degree, I could pass for a police officer, so that helps.
99% of the time.
And so I just had a movie prop NYPD badge, and I would roll through with that. So I can attest to it being very corrupt. And I remember my friend got locked up one night because they didn't like where we were parked. The police officer it was a totally legal spot. The police officer just wanted to take that spot, and he got in an argument saying, it's just on the street. And the guy's like, I want to park there, move the car. And ultimately, we moved the car, but he arrested him and put him in jail for the night. So, I mean, just I can attest to all those reasons
Yeah,
firsthand.
and you have to understand that South American countries and jail systems are nothing like the U.S. There's like literally, if you go there and spend one night, it's like the worst thing that can happen to you. People literally
Well, people aren't being taken. Prisoner. What's the word? Comfort. Prisoner comfort isn't really. It's not a thing in probably the rest of the world. So I can only imagine.
I don't think it's really a thing here either, though.
but at least you guys have fucking, civil rights, human rights.
Yeah, the human rights are a little better here.
Far better. Like,
people people get a lot more when they're in jail. People are getting let out early because of coronavirus, and I don't know. And maybe there's some diversity in the food menu there. I don't know. Fortunately for me, unfortunately for this topic, I don't know much about the food in jail. In prison, I can tell you about the food in jail, but not in prison. But all right. So next one.
Public services lacking. We already kind of talked about that. That's just going to be bad. Power is inconsistent. Water's maybe not clean, or not. Maybe you don't have running water at all.
So yeah, bad utilities, water not hygienic. So in Ecuador, did you have running drinkable water?
Yeah, not drinkable water. You have running water. Yeah, you have hose and everything, that you can use for whatever. Like in the best case scenarios, like on the richest part of Ecuador, because Ecuador has like the richest part, and as you said before, either you are super poor or you are super rich. And when you're super rich, we're talking about oil kind of rich, like a lot of money kind of rich. Like you can buy your way out of any situation. So when you're there and you have that amount of money, you can buy anything that you want. You can have as many things as you want, but for just a certain amount of people. So when you leave that specific location, you go to a different location where there's not as many things as you had before. You see the actual thing, like the actual corruption. You see the streets that are completely destroyed. You don't have clean drinkable water. You might not even have the electric supply, or
well, let's talk about the electric supply and how it makes its way to the houses. Mm-hmm. There's local power plants, right? Mm-hmm. But they're just not as robust, and probably the technology there and the hardware that they're using probably isn't as solid as what we have here. Yeah. But same thing with water. Do you collect rainwater, or do you have a actual city water that comes through?
It comes from rivers. It gets clean. It gets treated in the best case scenarios, or otherwise you can just get it from the river if it hasn't been contaminated yet. There are some parts in Ecuador that they are still collecting rainwater, and it's the fucking 21st century, and you're still collecting rainwater. And it's no longer the rainwater that you had in the 1800s. It's the rainwater that you have right now with this, technology. You have pollution. You have all of these mines being exploded, all of these copper mines, gold mines, and mines being exploded, and all of it goes into the air, and then you collect it as water. Actually, there's a problem now in Ecuador with Chevron. I don't know if you heard this, James. Chevron did a huge pollution scandal, in South America, and they got away with it. They didn't pay any fines.
That case has been working its way through the courts for probably at least a decade now.
Yeah. It happened in the 90s, and the guy that actually is an American guy that went all the way there, and he was a lawyer, and he actually got the case out. But the Chevron was like, we have the money and the resources to keep postponing, the trial. We don't want this to go into international court, because if they go into international court or an American court, they knew that they couldn't do anything, because there is actually justice in the U.S. court or the international courts. They cannot break the international courts or the U.S. court. Unlike Ecuador, that you can go there and be like, listen, I'll give you $1 million, just keep it quiet, keep it going. It's a lot cheaper to give you $1 million rather than paying $1 billion in damages.
Yeah, and I'm sure it'd be a lot. So, but the point that I want to drive home is just imagine, and I would say for the vast viewership or listenership of us, not that it's that vast, we're working on it, but imagine going 2 hours a day, or maybe more, or maybe less, but right on a regular basis with no electricity.
No internet, no Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is that you use.
Yeah, so there's, I mean, it interrupts the work that we do, because when we've had internet issues in the office, we basically shut down. People go home. Even if the internet's working but it's spotty, people freak out and have mental breakdowns in the office. And that's electricity. So
I mean, and like last week, I actually went to his place. We had a couple of drinks. I stayed at his place. I got dehydrated because we ordered too many chicken. I ate a lot of that chicken, and then I got dehydrated. I woke up at, I don't know, 3, 4 a.m. and I went to his kitchen. There was no water, and he had, I don't know, Pepsi or something like that. I don't drink sodas, so I was like, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna drink water out of the sink." Perfectly fine. Perfectly.
yeah,
normal.
he just drank out of the spigot in the sink. So
like, it's not.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah, we literally have that saying like, New York City water is the cleanest water in the world, and it's fine. Whenever you go to a restaurant and you get tap water, you get it out of the sink. It's not like you get filtered water from this special machine or bottled water. No, it just comes from the sink.
So okay, so hit me with the next one on your list there.
Inequity in the economy. So Andres already talked about how in Ecuador, you're either super poor or you're super rich. There's not much of a middle class. The wealth distribution is heavily striated.
Yeah.
What comments are we getting right now, by the way? We should address anybody.
Let me just hit some comments, because we got Michelle who has definitely got a great point of view. She was on last time.
Was she the one from South Africa?
Yes. A friend of mine bribed a cop with McDonald's one night when we got pulled over. That's not bad. And that's
pretty cheap ticket.
Some people want to go back to prison because they have a roof over their head and 3 meals a day. Do people get arrested in Ecuador and then 12 hours later they're back on the streets?
If you have the money, you can live in the same exact hour that you got in. If you have power, you don't even need to touch the jail. You go like, listen, this is my name. And yeah, there are the specific names. Like, for example, in Mexico, if your last name is Salinas, Gortari, what's the other guy's name? Slim, you will never go to jail. You just say your last name and they'll be like, okay, we have a certain, because they are actually the ones that command the whole country itself. They are the ones who actually have the money to pay all of these people. So in Ecuador, the exact same thing happens, like in every South American country. If you have a last name that is pretty powerful, you're like, listen, this is my last name, this is my dad's last name, whatever. I'll pay you whatever and just let me go.
Yeah, but also I feel like we have the same thing happening here in New York with all the crackheads on the streets.
But that's a whole different thing.
It is a different thing, and it's the opposite end of it.
Yeah.
But they're basically, they can't be charged. They're going into they're under arrest, but then they're going into hospitals, because they have overdoses and things like that, or they have mental health issues, and then the hospital's releasing them, and they're not being booked. That's.
I've always looked at that we need more Giuliani into this place. We need some Giuliani back into the city.
I think that if it gets worse, I think that will be the direction the general public will push for.
Yeah.
But I think right now the general public is still pushing against that. So, but I do think there's a good chance it'll be moving in that direction in the future if things continue to get worse.
I mean, it's super bad now that we go out there. We can even go out. Like my friend came here 3 weeks ago, and she came with her son, and her son saw a guy doing heroin on the streets. Literally, he was, poking himself with a needle, and and he asked me, "What's he doing?" And I was like, he has diabetes, and he's just using a needle to inject himself with insulin. What am I gonna tell you, 9-year-old?
Yeah.
You got pretty deep with that one already.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what else do you have on the police there? On policing?
Oh, I didn't say anything about policing. We already talked about corruption. That's pretty much it. I talked about wealth. Like wealth inequality is just that the way that the third world economies are structured, it's very hard to be middle class.
Well, I think I really feel that we're going in that direction in the U.S. You know,
Well,
Yeah,
you
you can
guys
make
are
the case for that.
the reason why I believe South America is so corrupt is because of the lack of education and the fact that when you are a guy, when you're a male born, your family would rather send you to work at a young age, let's say 15, 16, 17-year old, rather than invest on you the amount of money that you need to invest on a kid to send him to college, and that way he can actually learn something. And in South America, traveling is really expensive. It's not like the US where you can get a ticket to go from Cali to New York for $70.
I don't know where
Yeah.
you're getting $70 tickets.
Or Europe, you have Ryanair, which is super cheap, whereas you have the ability to actually travel. In South America, to go from Peru to Colombia is at least $400. In Ecuador, with the economy that we don't have that kind of money, And by not traveling, you don't expand your horizons, you don't expand your mind, you cannot learn other cultures, other point of views, and things like that. And that's what I believe. Education is the reason why South America is super corrupt. Because when you see $1,000, you're like, oh my fucking God, I've never seen that amount of money in my life. So I'm going to take that bribe and, just keep my mouth quiet. And if you keep bribing people left and right, you can keep them quiet for the rest of their lives.
yeah.
I think your frame of reference in New York City is a little bit tilted, though, because there are large parts of the United States where the vast majority of the people there have never really traveled outside of their own state.
Yeah, but good if you wanted to.
Yeah, but you could get a round trip to
Yeah.
some theme park or something. I'd see flights, my inbox for like $24. Actually, more not my inbox, but my spam filters and stuff. But travel for us is pretty inexpensive, and if you're not too picky with where you're going.
Yeah, you have Southwest. You have what's his name? What's the name of this?
Southwest?
No, not Southwest.
Spirit.
Spirit Airlines, which is
well,
the best thing ever. And you cannot complain.
Spend the extra money and fly on JetBlue instead.
So the first time I flew, the only time I flew on Spirit Airlines, the flight attendant didn't charge me for any drinks. And
that's a win-win situation on my book.
And then asked if she could stay with me when she's in New York.
All right, so I can see why you're a fan of Spirit Airlines.
No, that was the reason why I'm not a fan of Spirit Air.
Why? She gave you free alcohol and she gave you free.
I don't know.
She was not good.
It wasn't.
She was fine.
No, it wasn't that. It just didn't. One, it probably wasn't very tactful, but two, I wasn't.
Justin, I don't know you anymore. What happened to you?
It's a long time. Not that long ago, but a few years back. And but I was, it just maybe I was in such discomfort at the end of the flight from sitting in the plastic.
Bro,
chair.
she gave you alcohol. She didn't charge you for any alcohol. I'll be fine with that. And especially if she tells me, can I stay in your place? I'll be like, fuck yeah, you can stay in my place every day. 24/7.
Yeah, we're going to have to question some motivations here.
Not fat shaming, by the way. It's just my preference. If she wasn't fat, I'll be like, cool, let's go. Let's get it. So you got free drinks, free pussy.
I didn't say I took up on the offer. What I'm saying.
You took up on the free drinks at least.
No.
Well, but it just didn't seem very classy to me, and it really kind of put the airline.
When have we had class to begin with?
But it solidified the entire experience for me, really. Drinks were nice. The drinks were a really nice touch, but
that's the selling point. If she gave you free alcohol, just take it and take it with you.
Okay. Well, anyways, we're getting completely off topic now.
So, do we miss anything on the list so far?
Poor infrastructure and non-diversified economy. So a lot of these third world countries are going to tend to have an economy that's concentrated in one particular area. Normally, it's going to be some kind of a natural resource.
Yeah. Venezuela has the dependence on oil.
It's oil.
Yeah, it's literally
But you
the country with the most reserves of oil, and yet they cannot process that oil. They cannot refine that oil right now. It's more expensive for them to refine that oil that they have rather than to buy it from other countries. You know.
well, that's because they heavily subsidize oil sales within their own country. So, but whatever the case is, that's just a common feature.
Well,
It's usually
Yeah.
what?
it makes you unstable also.
Yeah, because you're kind of at the whims of whatever the global market prices are for that one particular resource. So if oil takes a dive, there goes your whole economy. If gold prices go down and your economy is based on gold mining, well, tough luck.
So
But the reason why is like natural resources don't require an educated workforce to extract.
yeah, but where do we stand as a U.S.? Because I feel like we could be sliding on that a little bit.
No, you guys have a
No,
very
our economy is still heavily diversified.
super diversified. You have technology. You're literally the leading. I mean,
We have
China.
tech, agriculture, manufacturing.
You guys
You-
have fracking.
finance.
That's why Venezuela went into a recession because you guys invented fracking. You fucked up half of the Midwest, but who cares about the Midwest?
No, that fracking had virtually no impact on that.
I mean, what was it? Lake Flanagan? What was it? Lake. There was a lake that got poisoned with gas and whatever it was.
Beats me.
What I'm saying is that the United States expansion of fracking and the shale oil boom, especially in like the Alberta tar sands and stuff like that, has had minimal impact on the economy of Venezuela. The price of oil and everything is far more complicated than the small amount of supply that the United States contributes to the overall global output. You can look at the Middle East and Russia and OPEC nations in general, and Venezuela is part of OPEC, as them controlling the supply. But with coronavirus hitting and everything, global oil demand dropped by a ton.
True.
And it's a lot harder to just throttle supply on a whim because all of the drivers of supply are heavily momentum based. It's not something that you can just immediately turn the spigot off on an oil well.
Yeah, well, there was a.
Flint. That was the name of it.
You're thinking Michigan.
Yeah,
I don't-
Flint, Michigan. They had literally a lake completely covered in gas and whatever. And whenever you used to open a water, whatever, gas will literally pour out of it. You can literally light that on fire. You know. So those are the side effects of fracking, which I believe is great, and you can get a lot of gas and whatever. There's also a side effect. There's also a thing.
Okay, but that what I'm saying is that didn't have much of an impact on global oil prices.
Sure. So we had a negative cost in global oil, right, for a little while.
That was no. That was for a short-term oils contract, and this was a market inversion because the way that the oil futures contracts was, these were expirations, and this was about 2 days before the contract expiration. And if you held the contract, you were agreeing to take physical delivery. This wasn't just like I own the rights to it or whatever. You actually had to go and have like a truck or a tanker to be able to take the delivery of the oil.
Yeah.
And so it just so happened that there was a squeeze on the market that happened to coincide with an options contract expiration date, where there were not enough people in the supply chain to be able to take this physical delivery. And so it was really an aberration. And the price quickly corrected back to a low price, but at least a positive price where people would be paying money to take oil.
Sure.
It was a very short-term thing where people just were like, I don't even have the trucks to be able to take it. You can't give it to me because I have nowhere to put it.
Well, I will say that there was an amount of time. I don't know what it was like in South Carolina, but here in New York, where traffic is usually pretty bad all the time, I will say that there was a period of time, maybe late March, where like no one was on the road. and it was a weird place to be to go out driving around when we were right at the beginning of this. And
Like Vanilla Sky.
and yes, and there was Vanilla Sky where he runs into Times Square and there's not a single car on the road. I was walking through Times Square and I would see 3 or 4 people, throughout the entire 8 block or whatever it is. But on the highways all around the city, nobody out there. One night, this is actually kind of wild. One night driving in Queens or Brooklyn, and somebody whizzed by me. I was probably doing a good 75, not super fast, but fast for the road. And this guy whizzed by me, came up behind me, flashed his lights, flipped right around me. And then like 15 minutes later, we're driving, passed by this car engulfed in flames. And I don't know what he did, but he didn't crash. So I don't know if the car just caught on fire from it being redlined or what the hell happened. But that was just wild. And there was not a traffic jam. And this was on the LIE. So there was no traffic jam around this car, just smooth sailing. And the thing was engulfed in flames, which is just.
What car was it?
It was like it was a white BMW or Acura or something. I have a bad blurry video of it, but yeah, just wild. I don't know if it was if he was in like Tiptronic mode and not shifting, or I don't know what the hell happened. So, but what else we have on third world countries? Because I think fracking would be another good future.
Yeah, I don't know. You guys are in New York City right now. What's it like living in a third world country?
A lot of homeless, a lot of people asking for things, and just
Well,
like in Ecuador.
I think that's what it is. You still have a lot of the wealthy has left the city.
Yeah.
A lot of internationals have left. Anywhere else you can go, you're going to have more space than you do here. But even the middle class in New York is still, they make a lot of money compared to the rest of the country, and probably compared to the rest of the world. And then you're poor and homeless and drug using population. The drug using population is getting out of control. And then you're I don't want to say lower class, but no, you're working class in New York are really running the city, and that's why you see. I mean, it's been happening for a while. They're your biggest voter base, and that's why you see the legislation leaning the way it is. So, but yeah, I mean, when I walk out of here, I'll probably pass 15, 20 homeless people on this block, and maybe some tents and stuff set up. I may walk home just to see what the scene looks like.
Then again, the other part about it as well, that we have the winter, and it's one of the coldest winters that you can probably imagine. So in the winter, yeah, there's not a lot of homeless people out there because they either migrate to the south or something, or I don't know, they find a place to stay probably. So I don't see a lot of homeless in the winter. So now that we're getting into that stage of that time of the year, what's going to happen with the homeless?
Well,
are they going to stay?
The problem may solve itself. The homeless may leave the streets, and then over the winter time, the business people come back in, the students come back in. The biggest thing I saw with the homeless people taking over the streets is it doesn't matter who you are, but people are, some random guy walking down the street isn't going to put up with you sitting in the middle of the street if that's the pathway that he's walking through. He's going to step over your head, or before you know it, a few people are going to step over you. Then you're going to get a heel to the cheek, and then you're going to be like, "Fuck this," or you're going to fight back. But either way, there's so much foot traffic on the streets. Typically, that you're not sitting in the middle of the sidewalk or laying in the sidewalk or in front of a store laying down on the sidewalk because people are coming in and out of the store. The store's opening up. Now there's a lot of closed stores, so that may still contribute to the problem. But when there's foot traffic on the streets, there's nowhere for you to be. There's so much foot traffic, which is why people here hate tourists because they walk slow, they stop abruptly, and that's a big problem here.
It's one of the things that is happening in Barcelona, actually. The actual people that live in Barcelona are like, thank God this happened. There are no more tourists. We can actually enjoy our city and things like that. That doesn't happen here in New York because we actually need tourists to actually keep us going.
Barcelona needs it too. Barcelona is a heavily tourist city.
It depends, but they're like, oh, we can still survive and whatever. Here in New York, we need students to come back to the city and rent apartments in the city. We still need people to,
Well, we make a lot of money through tourism.
Yeah.
And the MTA. The MTA is really, really fucked.
To the point that they don't even give a fuck about the fact that there's people that they don't buy Metro cards anymore. They just sleep and they just
the cops aren't doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and what are they gonna do if you don't have any more money to spend on a Metro card? What makes you think that that person has money to pay a fine?
that's exactly correct. And the police aren't coming after them anyway. So,
now let's jump to the fun side of a third world country. How were you treated in a third world country?
No, definitely. As long as you're tipping, and for the most part, on the trip, I did pretty well. A friend of mine lived in Mexico for a little while. I hit her up on Instagram. I was like, "Hey, anything? Yeah, I don't know remind me where you were, but anything I should know about Tulum? What should I be doing? How are the police? If I go into the center of the city, is it dangerous?" And she's like, the police really have the tourists back because they know how much money tourism brings in. And I will tell you, Tulum
It's expensive.
cleans the fuck up. Their prices are just as much, if not more, in some places than Manhattan.
That's another thing as well. This is a tip for everybody that wants to travel to any third world country. If you're white and you look like you're white, always find somebody else. Always find a guide. Because if I go to Brazil and I don't know the language because they speak Portuguese, they don't speak Spanish, and they realize that I'm, not from Brazil, they'll be like, okay, he's a tourist. Let's charge him a little bit more. They will charge you more. It happens in Ecuador as well. If you go to Ecuador and you go to a store, they will charge you a different price compared to an Ecuadorian. And at some point, they will even ask you, can I have your ID, your whatever?
Yeah.
And like, why? I'm Ecuadorian. Like, no, I need your ID. Just double check. Because they hear you speaking in a different way, or they hear you speaking English, and they go like, oh, they're from the US, they're not from Ecuador. So they just charge them a little bit more.
One thing that's cool when you're not in the US is that for the most part, prices are negotiable in most places. Whereas if you walk into a store and you're like, give me this, this, and this, I want to pay this. They're like, get the fuck out of here. But in a lot of other countries, and you can't do this probably as well, or maybe not even if at all, if you're not from there. If I walk into a place and I'm like, I don't want to pay you, they might give me a little break, but usually
you can always get around with the price.
Yeah.
Well, it depends though, because like it all depends on how well you can navigate. If you can show the people there that you understand the local customs or whatever, even if they know you're not from there, if you can kind of meet them on their same level, then they'll respect that a lot more.
Yeah, but I think you'd definitely be taking advantage of if you're not from there.
Exactly. That happens in every single country in South America, and it happens between all of us. Like if you go to Peru and you don't have the accent of a Peruvian, they'll be like, oh, he's from Ecuador. They have the dollar. Let's charge them a little bit more.
Yeah.
You go to Chile and they're like, oh, he doesn't speak like Chileans. Let's charge them a little bit more. And it goes all around. It's not like we're a unified continent and be like, okay, we have different currencies. Let's just be fair and whatever. Like you guys here, you have different states that have different ways to talk, but you still charge the exact same price everywhere.
Yeah. Well, I will say, even though many prices were listed in pesos, I didn't spend a single peso. Only U.S. dollars. And
did you use your card or did you actually spend cash?
Both. So definitely very touristic place. And I noticed if I really wanted to, I could look at the receipts, but the rate that they gave me paying in cash changed quite a bit depending on where I was. But I was really surprised at how expensive things were there.
Cash is king.
Yeah, but thinking you're going to Mexico, you're going to get a good deal.
No, you do way worse with cash than you do with card. If you use a card, you're pretty much always getting the best rate.
Yeah,
in Mexico.
That's on the bank.
No, trust me on this one, because like you're paying if it's 20 pesos or whatever, and you use your card, then your
But
bank
they're
is the
not
one
charging
that's
you
doing the
that.
foreign currency translation.
Yeah, but they're not charging.
Just trust me on this one. Like
They're
using
charging
your card, you will always get the best possible foreign currency rate.
But the thing is that in some places, I'm not saying every place, but in some places they don't charge you in their regular currency. They will charge you in dollars. So it makes it even worse.
Right, but if
However,
you're paying with card, they're going to be charging you in local currency.
if
Like
then again, if they see you as a white person, they go like, "Oh, that person has money just because you're white." If I go to Mexico, they'll be like, "Oh, no, he's one of us." So I can just be there. And be like,
yeah, but if you're using your card, they won't be like they don't have two machines, one that charges in dollars and one that charges in pesos. The only time that you're going to have a price difference is if you're paying in cash dollars, they're going to give you a worse currency translation because they're going to have to do the work to bring that money to the bank and then translate it back to pesos. But if you just run your card on their reader, then Citi Card or Amex or Visa or whoever is going to be doing the foreign currency translation for you, and you get you get basically market rate with no markup.
Which, on that note, if you're watching this on YouTube, which is not currently, if you're watching this post-production or you're listening on a podcast, you check the links below. Got a great link to an Amex card with great travel benefits. I used it the entire time when I wasn't using cash, which is most of the time. And I also used it on the airplane. And in the airplane, you get, I think, $200 a year of free. You get oversized baggage or overweight baggage, extra baggage fee. They comp all of that, and it gives you access to all the premium lounges. Unfortunately, there was no lounge on the way out, and we didn't have time to catch any lounges on the way back in. But definitely, I've been into some real nice lounges in some airports. In Sweden, really nice lounge. But at Heathrow, I think they got a great lounge. I don't know, all over the place, great lounges. By the time you go in, there's free alcohol, there's free hors d'oeuvres at the lounges. Some of them even have like showers and sleeping pods and stuff like that. So definitely check out that link. I think you get a promo to sign up, some bonus travel points, which the travel points are awesome as well. So look, is there anything else you want to add about some third world countries and traveling to third world countries?
Nah, just need to put out my burner email address for anybody in California that wants to possibly meet up with me while I'm out there. I'm gonna be landing Thursday afternoon, and I'll be there. I fly out Tuesday morning, so I'll have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday in California.
And what's that email?
And
I'll throw it in there tomorrow.
Where in
go with Get Off My Lawn 204 at protonmail.com.
Okay. You want James' real email that's been published on the previous podcasts. So
that's the burner email. I'll check that, and then I'll respond to that one and give you real.
You're in Sacramento, right?
Sacramento. I'll also be visiting Santa Rosa, the Bay Area, possibly Oakland, and possibly the Tahoe area. But I'll be spending home base will be Sacramento.
All right, very cool. So we're going to sign off. I appreciate you guys joining us. If you haven't already, if you're watching us live, if you're on TikTok, you're on Instagram, you got to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, anywhere you want to go,
Twitch,
and we're on the podcast as well. So check that out. All right, guys, I will catch up with you next time, and enjoy your evenings. See ya.
Yo, all right, you made it all the way to the end. You owe me a like or subscribe. If you already do like or subscribe, tag somebody you know in this podcast, recruit some people, and let me know what you want to hear about.
I like PBR. I just got priced out of it.